The Battle Phase podcast is broadcast live on Fridays and Sundays, and we encourage you to come hang out and chat with Bard and Dare live. Now, prepare to declare attacks. You are entering the Battle Phase. Hello everyone, you have entered the Battle Phase. It is I, the Midnight Bard, your favorite bard, and the thirst is real. Joining me as always is everybody's favorite co-host with the most ghosts, Dareinger.
Now in Dorito Ranch flavor.
Yes. Welcome to the Battle Phase podcast, the weekly podcast where Dare and I talk about all the nerdy stuff that we enjoyed throughout the week. If it came across our feeds, be that via Twitter, Instagram, Threads. We have Threads now.
Yeah, that's Twitter Threads or X Threads or whatever they call it now. These kids in their naming conventions.
Yeah, it's Instagram Threads, but yeah, it's the Instagram Twitter option. In case you don't like what do you call it, Twitter, which is called X now. Something that came up previously was, somebody was asking, well, we used to call it tweeting because it was a bird, but now it's an X, so what do we call it now? Are we crossing people? And I was like, I like that. I like the sound of that. We're crossing people. But I wanted to say welcome to everyone in the chat. We have Wilo's Arcade, we have Brother Gamma, we have Royal Gargoyle, and welcome guys. And I want to say before we begin, please remember to like, sub, and share. It is the easiest way to support the channel to help us grow if you haven't already. And then beyond that, on our podcasting platforms, hello, people on Spotify, Amazon Music, Google Podcasts, and so many more. We are happy to have you here, and every time that I open up our RSS feed dashboard and see that we have listeners all across the world, it makes me oh so happy. So thank you for listening. And what are we watching this week, Dare?
Oh no, it's I don't watch stuff.
Yeah,
we've had this discussion before.
Well, sometimes you watch things. I figure it's a courtesy of mine to ask, but yeah. So
we have. Well, I mean, I got stuff. I'm just not watching anything. Wow, you're just so pushy.
Yeah,
so pushy
I'm a little pushy. That's true.
Borderlands, they're doing a event because of the new collector's Pandora's Box edition thing.
Yeah.
So you can go on their different social medias and they have codes to get a bunch of golden keys, crystal keys, etc. For the different Borderlands games. They've also been giving out free legendaries on the Borderlands games.
Neat.
Limited time often. And then Steam's been doing a lot of really cool sales lately. They've currently got the Focus Entertainment stuff that's on sale. You can get Titanfall 2 for $3.
No, yeah, which is excellent.
Yeah.
If you're a budget gamer.
There's a lot of these games on here that I've personally had on my wish list for a while that I've purchased because they're super cheap.
Yeah. So that's exciting. You get a bunch of new games to play.
Yeah, we're gonna be a giant robot mech dude.
Right, giant robot mech dude. Speaking of giant robots, I've recently started watching a genre of anime that I never thought that firstly, I didn't even know was a thing. Now, as it turns out, it's a complete thing. It's an entire genre. I'd never seen it before. I'd never watched any type of it before. So I started, and I've been watching Love Live. To be specific, Love Live Sunshine, which is an idol anime. That's a thing that exists. I didn't know that before.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've been watching that. There's also a YouTube video that I watched this week that I thought was kind of interesting, and I kind of figured I'd bring up. But so to start with Love Live, so Love Live Sunshine, Bard takes a break from One Piece for this. So yes, I took a break from One Piece because I made it all the way to like episode 700 and change, like almost 800. And like this was kind of like a little respite, a little bit of a breather before we get into the next huge saga. It was short, 2 seasons, 13 episodes each. And the production value of it is through the roof, which says a lot considering that apparently it came out in 2015, not something I was aware of. This looks very crisp, very clean. It's got CGI animation in certain places. I thought it was really, really, stunning to look at. It's composed of an all parentheses mostly female cast. There is an implied male person somewhere in the anime, but we never see him. He's just kind of there. It's always kind of like, oh, he's on the other side of the phone, but we never see him. So the plot follows the school idol group Aqua through their struggles as they aim to win the school idol competition Love Live. So for those not in the know, basically what like an idol group is think of it like pop stars. Like if you're familiar with like Blackpink, like
If you're familiar with Hololive,
if you're familiar with Hololive, if you're, like if we're knocking it back to the 1990 some odd, if you're familiar with the Spice Girls, that's basically what an idol group is. It's a group of, usually it's a girl group of singers and dancers, and they basically perform on stage, is what it is. So Love Live is like basically like a school idol competition. So these are high school girls who are joining in this competition. They basically form their own groups, and from that point forward, they perform on stage, and the audience votes for who makes it to the next round, etc. Right? So yeah, it's basically what it is. The plot follows the group Aqua and their leader Chika Takami through their struggles as they aim to win the school competition Love Live, as I said, and it is not an easy road. The road to stardom is one filled with obstacles and drama and what have you, and I guess I'll go to the next slide. My thoughts. At its core, it's an underdog story. The group Aqua is a bunch of girls in not even like in a modern like city setting in Japan. They're not in Tokyo. They're actually out in the sticks. They live in a fishing town. So it's they're compared to like everyone else, like they're kind of out in the boonies. They're kind of like country bumpkins, but the lead character Chika decides, after she sees like the idol group Muse perform, that this is something that she wants to do. She wants to shine like they shine, because when she saw them on stage, it's just ordinary high school girls, but they were flashy, they were bright, they were incredible, like they were singing together, they were dancing together, and it was just an experience. And she says, I want to do that with my life. That's what I want to do. So she basically goes back to her high school and tries to start an idol club. And here's where the journey begins, because she has to go through all kinds of difficulties, such as the student council president wanting there to not be an idol club in their school. And then afterwards, whenever she gets enough members to kind of like not change the student council president's mind, but kind of like make it so like you can't really say no. Now there's the thing that, well, Love Live only accepts original songs. Do any of you write music? And, like one thing after another, it's always like, this is our goal, but there's a new obstacle almost in every episode to just kind of hold them back. And, like it's very focused on that, like the competition, but also like the everyday drama that kind of goes on with them. So like, some of them kind of have like, these, like these, like self-esteem issues, kind of sort of, where they're like, I could never, like I just can't. It feels like the world is constantly against us. And other things start happening, like well, 3 of the members were previously idols in a group of their own, and they decided to call it quits because of like personal drama amongst themselves. So now like they're in this new generation group, and it's kind of like we have to overcome that drama that we had before. Like we stopped being friends, we stopped talking, we have to overcome that. work together again. And then, like, midway through the series, it's all like, oh, also now, because your high school is out in the sticks, we don't see a reason to keep it open. We're just going to merge it with another school. But they're like, no, but we love our school. Well, here's what we're going to do. As the group Aqua, we're going to perform and we're going to get a lot of attention at Love Live. That way people will be encouraged to come apply to our school. And if we can get enough people to apply to it, then they won't close it. Things don't really go well for them, like, is all I really got to say. It feels like every time that they're set up, so like, how anime is. Normally it's like one character will be like, I'm going to do the thing. And then come hell or high water, they do the thing, right?
Yeah.
In this one, it feels a little different because it feels like it's a little more grounded in that the characters go through like their character arcs where they push for their goals. They don't always get their goals, like they don't always make it. Which kind of like was a little shocking to me. I was like, wow. So like they went through all that to save their school, but they're not going to save their school? Interesting. Like they oh, look at that. The Country Bumpkins managed to put together like an act. They got enough members. They made it to Love Live, and they're going to do their first performance. $10 says they knock it out of the park and you get a lot of attention. Oh, what? They got 0 votes? Like, so it kind of like keeps coming down to like, we want to be the best like no one ever was. And then the world says no, so it's just, it's kind of fun that way. I enjoy it. The characters are fun. And let's see, basically, it's ultimately, the series asks kind of like the hard question of like, how far would you go to chase a dream? Like, what if the dream starts to hurt you? Like, what if the world around you says that no matter what you do, you just cannot win because either you're not good enough or because they won't allow you to? And it's kind of like one of those things where it's like everything is actively working against you. You haven't really had like a real victory. It's always kind of almost like a personal victory. Like, like I said, they initially got like the oh, we didn't get any votes. But then it's like, okay, well, let's turn no votes to 1 vote. And so like the next competition, they get 10 or something. It's like, okay, see, like it's a personal victory, but it's not like a real victory, like they're not becoming popular overnight. They're not changing the world, but they're changing themselves. So it's kind of like that question. I was like, if your dream tries to hurt you, or if the world says that it's actively opposed to you fulfilling said dream, would you still chase it? And the answer is, of course. It's your dream. Why wouldn't you? Like that's ultimately like, the main character Chica, she in the first episode, she says, I want to shine, like that's what I want to do. And that's ultimately what the anime seems to kind of like imply, is that the way that you shine is by chasing what makes you happy, by doing what only you can, and doing it in a way that only you can do it, come hell or high water. So, kind of great. Closing thoughts, it's ultimately a feel-good anime. It's got some really good emotional beats. Sometimes they're resolved with a little bit of a talk no jutsu. It's like, well, why aren't we friends anymore? I was like, oh, it's because blah. I was like, oh, well, how about we are friends now? Okay, it's kind of one of those things. But it is at the very least, like entertaining to watch. The characters are nice, and like you kind of like start to cheer for them. It's kind of like you want to see them succeed. A couple of things that I found out while I was researching the Love Live franchise is that it, as of 2022, was the 6th best-selling media franchise in Japan, with sales of manga, anime, video games, merch, etc. Just being off the charts in the billions of yen. So like it is a very popular franchise. I've come to find that Sunshine is just one of the many Love Live what's it called, anime. So like every other Love Live anime centers around a different group of school idols.
Oh yeah, I'm fine. I just have no fucking clue what he's talking about.
Well, I explained it all. Have you been paying attention?
Gargoyle is just like, also, dear, are you okay?
No,
I'm
I
just like,
see. I
I
see.
have no clue what any of this is. So just keep going.
I'm just
You're fine.
I'm just talking about an
We've
anime
got
I
8 more
watched.
slides of this.
No, like this is the final slide. I just wanted to, like highlight. Hey, this is a feel good anime. I enjoyed it.
This one's titled "Closing Thoughts and a Few Facts," and the next one's like, actually, I got a couple more facts about this. And then, well, here's another fact that I found out.
So, like I mentioned that it was sixth best-selling as of 2022 per this list that I found, and I don't know how reliable this list is, but like the top five, which are above Love Live, are Jujutsu Kaisen, Tokyo Revengers, Spy Family, Demon Slayer, and My Hero Academia. So, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, speaking of comic books,
You really need to work on the segues.
I do. I know. So like there's a YouTube channel called Comic Storian, and basically what Comic Storian is they will recap what happens in issues of comic books so that, in case you missed one, which is easy to do, you won't be far behind. And it's not just that, but it's also, like they'll recap like, oh, this story arc that happened, in this decade, this is what happened. These were the characters that were involved, and this is the impact that it had. But the host Benny is actually a fan of a bunch of different types of comic type media. So he's a fan of manga. He's a fan of comics. He's a fan of blah 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 blah. So he posted this video called "Comics versus Manga versus Webtoons versus Novels," in which he basically tried to give you the pros and cons of each, and kind of like let you know what was winning in some different categories that he assembled, just so you could kind of get like a good idea for like what's the easiest thing that you would be willing to get into, right? The short answer is it kind of comes down to taste. Like, like if you like manga, you like manga, like he can like make an argument for comics all he wants, but you're still going to like manga. So here's the basic like breakdown of what Benny thinks. And like a lot of this stuff I kind of agree with. So like, for example, the accessibility of story, webtoons and novels are easy 10s, like 10 out of 10, because it's so easy to get into like a novel, because if you bought a novel, which is like, anywhere in the range of like 10 to 20 bucks, that complete book is the story. Like you don't have to like worry like, am I missing some side issues, like this and that. The most that you have to worry about is like, is this the first in a series, or is it one in the middle of a series? So that's kind of what his rationale for novels. For webtoons, you log onto the webtoon app, all of the chapters will be on there. Start reading from one and continue on. So, webtoons and novels, easy 10s. Accessibility of story and manga, the thing that he pointed out why manga wasn't like an easy 10 is because sometimes manga has spin-offs and they don't advertise them, so you don't have any idea that there's a spin-off of My Hero Academia called My Hero Academia Vigilantes, but it exists. And, like, you wouldn't know that unless you were already into My Hero Academia. And comics are the absolute fucking worst. Because, and I made mention of this before whenever I was talking about the video by Comic Drake, that it's not easy to know when you're missing something. Like, for example, every time they do an event, one event that I remember that I read through when I was in college was called Siege, and it was a Marvel Comics event. But in order to understand what was going on in Siege, you had to read Siege, the actual event. You had to read Dark Avengers. You had to read, like Siege Embedded. You had to read, like basically everything had a tie-in with it. And events that happen in those like parallel storylines, mattered in the main storyline. So like you kind of had to do that, and sometimes it's not clear what you need to read in order to make sense of the whole story. For example, Blackest Night in DC. I know that Green Lantern and Green Lantern Corps are part of that story. I have no clue like what issues of Batman I need to read that are relevant. I have no idea if Superman is included in this. I have no idea if Aquaman, etc., etc. So it's kind of like one of those things like, if you pick up a comic book and they're not labeled a lot of the time as like, yeah, you need to read this one to make sense of like Blackest Night. Sometimes it's like it'll just say Green Lantern, and then underneath it or above it, it'll have like a mark that'll say Blackest Night tie-in, and it's like, oh, okay, there it is. But like sometimes it's not easy to understand that, so not really fun, and it's kind of confusing sometimes. As far as price, Webtoons is the most budget friendly. It's on the app. It's free. The authors make money different ways, like you can donate to them, etc. But for the most part, if it's on the Webtoon app, it's free. Like you can pick up a Webtoon for no cost to you whatsoever. Manga and novels are like the next best in pricing, because it's like a manga volume will run you like $10, and a novel will run you like maybe 12 to 15. And comics, as I've mentioned in the past, are expensive for very little material, like in the neighborhood of like, what, 20 pages of material? It's not a good deal.
No.
Yeah. Quality, he says that comics win, because comics are, are a team effort. They'll have a writer, they'll have a penciler, an inker, a colorist, etc., a cover artist. So like there is a lot of manpower that goes into making a single issue of comics, and it's usually printed on higher quality paper, and it looks really good presentably. I mean, like a comic book looks nice, and sure, it does. Manga is typically printed on cheaper paper. Let's see. His argument for novels is a little weird, because he says like, you could buy a novel, but it has no pictures, and I'm like, well, yeah, it's a novel. And like Webtoons, it's really up to your taste. Normally a Webtoon is like the brainchild of a singular author artist. So even if their story is good, like, but you don't like their art, well, that's the effort that went into it, so what are you going to do? Point of purchase, he says novels and Webtoons win because Webtoons are always available on your phone or on your tablet or on your computer. Anywhere that you can access the internet, you can look at a Webtoon. And novels, you can go to a gas station and buy a novel, like they're everywhere. So
I love me some gas station novels.
Me too. I have a bunch of them that I pick up every now and then. As far as genre, and this was the weird one, and the one that had like a point that I was like, hey, that's true, was that, for example, Webtoons, manga, and novels are super easy to figure out what their genre is. A lot of the times, just reading the cover will tell you exactly what you're in for. And what do you call it? Webtoons have tags that let you know, it's like, hey, this is a slice of life, or hey, this is horror, but comic books, and this is something that when he pointed it out, it like clicked in place. I'm like, wow, that's something I never thought about. But yes, it's like there is no easy category for comics. A lot of the times they're superheroes, sure. But like, he used Spider-Man as an example, and I'm so glad, because Spider-Man is a really good example, because it's like, like there are stories of Spider-Man where it's like, it's very superhero. Spider-Man is out there beating up bad guys, saving the day. But there are issues of Spider-Man where it's like very weird, like slice of life, I want to say, kind of like a slice of life, but like a sexy slice of life. Like, oh, Spider-Man's dating Mary Jane, but hey, Black Cat might just steal him away, there are issues of Spider-Man that are kind of like really, really horror themed. Like, oh, I'm fighting Mysterio, but Mysterio's messing with my mind, and I'm seeing horrific nightmares everywhere I go, or like, etc., etc. As a matter of fact, what do you call it? And yeah, Brother Gamma in the chat points out Carnage goes to New York. New York, very dark. Yes, some of them get really really dark, really gritty, really gory. So whenever you're picking up a comic, you have no idea what you're in for. A lot of the times, it'll be based on whatever the writer wants to do, and so it's a real weird like grab bag where it's like, do I stick with Spider-Man during this run because I'm in it for like the superhero action, the character drama. I don't care who Spider-Man dates, like I don't. I mean, like, if we had our choices, I guess Black Cat is better than Mary Jane. But like, do we really have to make this about the romance? I picked up Spider-Man so I could watch him beat up bad guys. So there's that. So then, lastly, he said related media, and related media. He says that manga wins 100% of the time because the related media, for example, like manga and anime. If you have an anime based on your manga, that anime, most of the time, there are a few exceptions, will be a one-for-one translation of the plot. Sometimes there'll be like small liberties, like let's trim the fat around this particular plot. That way we can streamline it a little more, or let's omit this part of the plot because looking back it's a little nonsensical, or like it doesn't fit with the theme, right? But more than often it'll be like, yeah, it's a one for one translation, and that's a model that works. Anime is extremely popular, and a lot of the times people will watch an anime and then they'll go back to the manga because they enjoyed the anime. I'm one of those people. uh you don't really have the same for comics or for movies or for webtoons. So for comics, if you look at a superhero movie, it's never a direct one-to-one translation of a story plot. Like, for example, The Dark Knight is based off of the comic book run called The Long Halloween in Batman. Yeah, the Long Halloween. A little bit, but it's kind of like run through a bunch of filters for the sake of like the average moviegoer. Like these are like general people. We're batting to the lowest common denominator. That way, if they're not like a huge comic fan, doesn't matter. You can still sit and watch a Batman movie. But then we talk about animated series, and they kind of do the same thing. Like Batman animated series like The Batman or Batman the Animated Series or The Brave and the Bold don't exactly adapt one for one story plots from the comics. It's usually just like, you recognize Batman, you recognize the Joker, we're writing entirely new content for them. And this is what the animated series is. So, yeah, and not always bad. Like, we Batman the Animated Series is legendary for being so good. So, I mean, it's not always a miss, but like the point here is, as a related media, it doesn't translate one for one. Webtoons is weird because, like some of them are getting manga now. Solo Leveling is one, and Solo Leveling is also getting an anime. So it remains to be seen. And novels, like and it's funny that the novel that he kept referencing was the Dark Tower series, which I love the Dark Tower series. I read the whole thing. But the movie that they released for it recently with Idris Elba as the lead was not great. And it was a complete deviation from what the novel was. So just kind of like, yeah, the related media and everything else, with the exception of manga, is just kind of all over the place. But manga does really, really good at just being like, yeah, this is the exact thing that was in the comic. So congratulations, have fun. Yeah, so I kind of sort of agree with like all of his points. I would say that as far as quality comics winning, I'm like, I mean, yeah, it's in color and stuff, sure, but I sometimes I'll see like certain manga series that in black and white are capable of doing so much more than comics is able to do in color, and it just leaves me flabbergasted. So, like, for example, Dan Da Dan is one of those where the art style can sometimes be so surreal and so weird, and just like looking at it, it's in black and white, but like the shading, the hatching, the cross hatching, the tones, and like just the composition just looks so good. Then I'm like, I don't even care that it's not in color. It looks great. So that's basically what this was about. Brother Gamma says that Solo Leveling is getting stuff changed in the anime already. All I have to say to that is like, yeah, kind of saw it coming. But yeah, like hopefully it's kind of like the One Piece live adaptation where it's like we're changing it, sure, but it's still in the spirit of the original thing. Hopefully.
Hopefully.
Yeah, long rant.
Speaking of hopefully,
Sorry, there. That was
would you like to hopefully get some new Yu-Gi-Oh cards in Master Duel?
I would. Would I? Absolutely.
See, that was like a shitty segue, but it's still like better.
Yeah, I guess so. So like new selection pack Galactic Evolution. It features Mekanko, Purely, and new Galaxy Eye support.
So it's basically the what was it?
It is 66% Amazing Defenders.
I was gonna say it's Amazing Defenders, but it doesn't have the fire.
Yeah, it doesn't have Rescue Ace for some reason.
Which, I mean, I'm not gonna complain because Rescue Ace is like aesthetically, it doesn't. I don't like it aesthetically. It's like okay.
They're robot fire trucks. Who doesn't like that?
But to anybody who wants to play Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel, have fun with Purely.
Well,
that's a deck.
It's pretty neutered right now. It doesn't have all of its stuff. Kind of in the same
vein.
Yeah,
that's right. It Purely doesn't get good till the second wave of support.
Yeah, it doesn't get good until the second wave of support. Right now, you can kind of toy with it, kind of like fudge with it, and see where it goes.
You get the Mekanko stuff though,
you have a majority of the Mekanko stuff. There is Mekanko support that has come out recently, and that's not in there. So
yeah, but I mean, like Mekanko was playable as an engine on release.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
Played it. I think they played it in Drytron.
Yeah, like Drytron did it. Tearlaments had like a Mekanko thing that they did because Jesse Cotton specifically.
Yeah, because Jesse Cotton said so.
Yeah, Jesse Cotton said so, and then everybody was trying it, and that's why he made like skyrocketed in price after he posted his video.
Yeah, that was something that I was like, I kind of want to make the blue dude deck, and then it was like, oh, why is this $30?
Yeah,
I don't
because of Jesse Cotton.
Pay $90 for something stupid.
Yeah, really. So with that being said, though, like Purely is neutered, like, and here's the weird thing that I'm noticing about Master Duel, is they're trying hard to catch up suddenly, because at the speed that we were going initially is so much slower compared to the speed that we're going now. Like we have
they had to like get the newer people on like quote unquote a level playing field.
Mm-hmm.
And could you say, well, no, I'm not even going to ask that question because that's going to start a fucking argument.
No, go for it. Ask me the question.
No, I'm not doing it.
Ask me a question, Derek.
They have to get it to where like it's up with the current like TCG, OCG.
Yeah.
Actually, what would they do there? Would they keep it like in line with the TCG, or would they go ahead and go to the OCG?
I don't know, but like here's the thing: things aren't releasing in a linear fashion, because there are things that we're getting ahead of time from like what's out on the TCG. We've gotten cards that weren't in the TCG on Master Duel, and then afterwards they released.
What was it recently that they released a card recently in Master Duel that isn't in the TCG yet?
Well, we had Numbers Evale was one of them. Numbers Evale was out in Master Duel before it was out on TCG. That's how people were cheating out Rongo. But there's like, other stuff.
Recently, there was like a monster or something that was released.
Yeah, there might be a monster. I'm not sure, to be honest. I don't compare them side by side to see what has what.
Well, you should.
Maybe I should, yes. But that being said, I feel bad that we don't get Rescue Ace, but like the point that I was going to make is like, so normally we'd be behind like about what, 6 months? Something like that.
This is
like, but
I feel like this is relatively like like less than a year.
Yeah, we've had back to back to
Like,
back like meta decks just show up, because like we had tier, and then like shortly after tier we had Kashtira, and then shortly after
well,
Kashtira we
the
have this.
photon stuff, is that from Photon Hypernova?
I
Is that
think it
the
might
new
be.
support from Photon Hypernova?
It might be.
Because
I don't know. I don't know what came out in Photon Hypernova.
that
I got my
that
Labyrinth
set
stuff and I walked away.
that set seems like it was like not too long ago.
Yeah, it
Like
feels like it wasn't that long ago, right?
I feel like they're like just like a couple sets behind the TCG,
Yeah.
and I'm interested to see if they'll skip ahead and go to where the OCG is or not,
Yeah.
because that would make Master Duel like really really good for playtesting for TCG.
It really would. And, I feel like that's kind of like a good neutral ground, because it's like we don't get the cards from the OCG until like almost like 6 months later, right? So if we got them ahead of time in Master Duel, it would be like, yeah, we don't have the cards from the OCG yet, but we have been playing them on Master Duel, so we know what we can do with them. It
Yeah,
would it would be nice for Konami because like how like the a lot of the TCG fan base didn't want to go on to Master Duel because it was like several formats behind from where they were, and in addition, it seemed to be going on a very OCG centric ban list. But like this right here might entice some of them to come back because it's like now you can play test things that you won't get your hands on for a while on Master Duel. And I'm like, okay, yeah, that sounds kind of fun.
yeah, and with that also you don't have to worry about like cards being short printed. You can just craft the card if you need it to play test.
Agreed.
And I don't know. It's like the ban list and then the best of one format kind of make it difficult, but it's still, if you're wanting to just play test, I feel like that's really good, and that'll probably draw in more of the competitive TCG people to be able to play test their deck
Yeah, yeah.
before it's released to the TCG. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah. And
I would play White Shorts because it's got pretty anime girls.
yeah, everybody loves pretty anime girls. But speaking of, so like a couple of things I wanted to kind of like highlight here
Speaking
is
of pretty anime girls,
a couple of things I wanted to.
Photon Hypernova.
No, so like the cool thing about this set in particular is that Pearly is a meta deck, and it's actually
Kinda. It
really
was.
in the TCG. Sure, it's not in Master Duel yet, so it hasn't like taken over the meta yet. But that being said, it's actually really cheap. Like most meta decks in Master Duel, like for example, I couldn't build tier elements because it had so many URs in it. Like, oh man, it's like you need all the Rhino Hearts, and those are URs. You need the Kit Kalos, you need the Rule Kalos, you need like Abyss Dweller, you need Time Thief Redoer, etc., etc., etc. So like the URs were just stacking on top of each other. But Pearly has all of like 4 different URs, and you use 2 of them. And the rest of the deck is either like regular rare or it's super rare. So like building Pearly is actually not that hard.
Well,
So
you know why they did that with tier, right?
because they didn't want people
It's
playing, they didn't want it to be tier
because they
0
didn't want
again.
people to play tier, because it ruined 2 different games for people. Two
Yeah.
different regions had their like whole playstyle just dominated by tier elements. So they released it like half banned, and they also were like, here, it's also going to be like max rarity, so just have fun making it, which I agree with, and I also disagree with,
No.
because that means the people who can afford to just throw money at them are going to have super top tier deck, and person like me who doesn't want to like play the game, I mean, I don't have the gems to make it, so I
Yeah.
either have to play the game or I can't just like craft it with commons.
Well, it's coincidentally along the same lines of not having gems to pull packs. There is actually like a campaign that is active right now in Master Duel where every time you log in for like 7 consecutive days, so every consecutive day you log in, you get a free ticket that you can exchange to redeem a free pack of Galactic Evolution. That was a hard sentence to say for no reason, but So the idea here is every day you log in, you get a free pack of Galactic Evolution. Pull your Pearlies, pull your Maconcos, et cetera, for it's free 7 free packs. It's actually kind of cool. And honestly, I think it's something that they should enact going forward. Like every time they release a new selection pack, just give you 7 free packs. All you got to do is log in each day. It's not a bad idea. Speaking of ideas,
Oh, I thought you like disconnected or something.
no, like I was waiting to see if you agreed with me or not. But like speaking of ideas, new secret pack, and it's got one really good card.
Is Smoke Grenade banned in Master Duel?
I think it is. I don't know. I haven't checked.
Okay, then yeah, it has. If Smoke Grenade's banned, then yeah, it has one good card.
It has one good card. So basically, this pack is called the Noble Knights of Crimson Flowers, and it is a pack that contains Infernoble Knights and the Fleur archetype.
Which is obviously a good archetype because
Yeah.
it's got that boss monster that everybody uses.
Right. If you've never heard of the Fleur archetype, there is one card in it that everybody wants, and that's Baron the Fleur. So like this feels weird because like what was it that had like the Fleur stuff? Was it Synchro Storm?
Yeah, it was, Synchro Storm had the Fleur, it had Lyrilusk, and I want to say Speedroids.
Right. Now, it's not that these archetypes weren't in Master Duel before, but they're just now getting their own secret pack. So, like, before it was kind of like, oh, do you want to pull a Baron de Fleur? Well, you can basically craft it, or you could, get like what are the ones called? The basic ones, like the Master Pack, or you can
Yeah,
get Master Packs and hope to God you happen to pull one out of the 10,000 cards that exist in the game. So this right here actually makes it a little easier. Like, what do? You craft a super rare Infernoble Knight, and then you unlock the secret pack, and you can sink 5,000 gems into it, and your chances of pulling Baron are actually okay. Like so. This is and they've been doing this. They've been adding new secret packs. They recently added like the Sword Soul one, and they added like the Scare Claw one, and now they're adding this one. So it maybe it's just me, but I feel like Master Duel is kind of updating a lot lately. Like ban lists are frequent, and they aim to balance the game as opposed to cripple a deck. And we're getting new packs all the time. We're getting archetypes that aren't released in the TCG, or like, specific cards that aren't released in the TCG are showing up on Master Duel. So, kind of interesting.
the Fleur archetype, if you can actually even call it that. I'm assuming it has other cards. Yeah,
It does.
the only card that's worth is Baron, which is $48. I mean, other than the Defleur, I'm assuming there's like synergy with roses or something.
And they're warriors, and their focus is on synchro summoning. I mean, technically, you could kind of use them in Infernoble, I guess.
They're spellcasters.
They're spellcasters.
There's the Synchron is a machine, and then they're spellcasters, and they have a plant.
Well, that goes to
And
show you how
the
much attention I was paying, because I had no
oh,
idea. I
no,
thought they were all
no
like
one uses
Baron.
them. I thought it was like a fully fleshed out archetype too, but apparently there's only like there's 2, 3, 4 monsters in the main deck, and then 2 synchros.
I have seen people use Sage the Fleur before in like a really dumb Grand Maju build. Like, that there was no point. But
Yeah,
yeah, but there it is. So I don't know. This is a weird secret pack. Like Scareclaw, I'm like, I can kind of understand. Scareclaw's a pretty cool archetype. Fleur, it's like, Infernoble Knights, I guess it's because they're getting new support. We got like their new field spell in the Megaton, etc.
I like that the like new equip card that they recently got is being used in
Not Infernoble.
not Infernoble.
Yeah. Out of curiosity, have you pulled any of the Megaton?
I haven't been playing Yu-Gi-Oh for like the past couple months. So no, there wasn't really anything in the Megaton that I wanted or
Uh,
needed.
I hear, like, for me, it's kind of like I opened one and I got some cool stuff in there. Like, I got some Therion stuff, which I completely missed Therions whenever they came out. So, like, getting the reprints is nice. Um, but other than that, I mean, like, it's just a bunch of stuff from sets that I pulled a lot of. So I'm like,
Well, it's like the 25th anniversary stuff would be kind of nice and cool to have as just like a collector's thing.
yeah,
Which I don't know why we're not talking. We haven't talked about that because that was released what 2 days ago.
yeah, like this week, yeah. Like,
It's just like the 10 just doesn't have like the promos, for instance, for the promo pack. You have your Dark Magician, your Red Eyes, your is Blue Eyes in it? Blue Eyes is not in
yeah,
it.
he's not
But then
really.
no, you have Dark Magician, Red Eyes, Stardust, Black Rose, Blackwing Armor Master. Okay, Cyber
Yeah, right.
Dragon,
Okay.
Exodia's Head,
I got that
um,
one. That's the one I pulled.
Neos, Galaxy Eyes, number 39, Rainbow Dragon, Firewall Dragon, Decode Talker, Enlightenment Paladin, Odd Eyes, Pendulum Dragon, and then Salmon Great Blaze Dragon.
Kind of a weird lineup. I mean, because like some of those are just like, really, like, why this one? It's fine. It bothers me that we didn't get like Borolo Dragon or something like that. But okay. Uh, but
I think it's supposed to be like the protagonist monsters, but at the same time, it's like,
why Red Eyes then?
why? Because that was Joey. Joey was a
Okay,
protagonist.
so we have
It's
like
just like
Yugi, we have Joey,
Akista
but
was the Black Rose. It's like they have the main protagonist and like their friend,
they're
I
homies.
guess.
Where's Tin Archduke?
I, where is Tin Archduke? Why do we have
Utopia, but no Tin
Utopia?
Archduke.
Why is it Enlightenment Paladin instead of like one of the other U boys or whatever they were called?
Yeah, the U boys. I don't know, but like it's. I like it, you know, like that. If you haven't seen like the tin proper, the tin's actually pretty cool looking. I like it, you know. Um,
I'm trying to actually see what's inside the tin, but they
there's
only have the promo pack that I can get to.
yeah, it's not great. I mean, like it's good stuff. I mean, it's not like the cards in it are bad. It's just a bunch of stuff that I already had, you know. So it's like, I'm cool, you know, like no need. But speaking about things that are a little baffling, the Pokemon Company has a new ad and it's selling something. This came across my Instagram feed, and I can't tell you how confused I was because I was like, I see the Pokemon logo on the picture, and I have no idea what the hell they're trying to sell me. Like, so in this ad, like, you have an elderly model and she's dressed to the nines. I mean, she looks fancy, you know, like a nice like black kind of like a suit type situation going on. You know, she's decked out in jewelry. She's against this classy new looking neutral background, almost like she's standing on the inside of a mansion. The lighting is very warm, very very cool. Like there's some shadows going on. This looks like a fashion magazine ad, right? Uh,
Yeah,
and you know, like I see that it's a collaboration between Pokemon and a company called Tomwood, which, when looking it up, it appears to be a jewelry brand. So I see that she's wearing jewelry. I have no idea what this has to do with Pokemon. And whenever you look at the ad, like every shot is it always seems to be focused on the model as opposed to like the thing they're trying to sell you. So you don't even know what the jewelry looks like, you know. And so whenever you look at the comment section for this particular ad, it is the most hilarious thing ever. Because everyone's all like, you can't even see the product. One person's all like, is Pokemon trying to sell me an elderly woman? What is happening? You know? And it's
no Poke Grandma.
Pokey Grandma. So, like, I imagine, like Gargoyle says in the chat, that the jewel looks like a Pokemon, I guess. You know, like it kind of looks like the necklace that she's wearing has like these little charms hanging off of them. The charms must be shaped like Pokemon. But yeah, like this is a baffling ad because I feel like they completely missed like their target audience. You know, like you're trying to sell me some Pokemon merch. I'm down. I like Pokemon merch, but could you tell me what I'm looking at? Because I have no idea what you're trying to tell me here. Like Pokemon, just like you know, like no disrespect to the model. I mean, like I said, she looks great in this photo shoot. I mean, she very clearly like is comfortable in her element of modeling. I mean, she's knocking it out of the park, you know. But like it's so weird because you know like a lot of like Pokemon fans are kind of like a younger generation, so it feels like Pokemon's being like, behold your future. And it's just like
This is what you'll turn into.
it's just like, okay, I mean that's fine. Like I don't mind being an old person who's into Pokemon. That's fine. But yeah, it was kind of like it was a really awkward ad because it's you know like the product is really small and it feels like they're missing the target demographic altogether, and like it just it didn't feel like a Pokemon ad. It felt like you'll find this in your mom's magazines, you know, like her health and beauty magazines. It'll be in there somewhere selling perfume or something, you know. So just a really weird ad, and I thought we'd talk about it because it was kind of hilarious.
Yeah, it's different. They'll say that.
Yeah, different is a good word for it, and not bad per se. It's just like you're definitely aiming it at the wrong audience. Yeah.
Yeah,
The,
it's old woman Pokemon. That's the new thing.
That's the new thing. So like, there, you actually told me about this next one. We have a new official MV from Hololive, from their group Regloss. It is called Shunkan Heartbeat. It's from the new Hololive group Regloss, which will be debuting. It is composed of Hyodoshi Ao, Otonose Kanade, Ichijo Ririka, and Jufute Raiden, as well as Todoroki Hajime. I hope I didn't butcher those at all. Uh,
Yeah, that's exactly how you're supposed to pronounce them.
Great,
I don't know if
fantastic.
that's how you're supposed to pronounce them. You
I
probably
feel so
just
much
pissed
better.
off all of Japan.
I might have.
We don't have any Japanese viewers anymore because if you
I mean, normally if
but
I hear it first, I'm really good at like saying it back. But like you know, like this is like I'm just going off of the way I saw it written. I've never heard these names out loud, so it's kind of like, oh, I'm an auditory learner. This sucks. So,
but
but
yeah, this was something that came across my feed
mhm,
uh, not too long ago, but it was like uh, they were doing like a video a day for the week
mhm,
of like a countdown for a new big Hololive uh, announcement, and I came across my feed on like the final day
mhm.
is like countdown day one. I was like, okay, I'll just refresh the page. Oh, there it is. There's the debut announcement of a new group.
Yeah,
From
and
what I can tell, it's a Japanese group. I think it's going to be like the Hollow X,
mhm.
but I also don't know Japanese, so I don't know.
Yeah, we will need
But
to
they
get
all,
a translator there for you so that they can
we
tell you.
do.
Yeah.
We do need to get a translator.
Mhm.
But they debut on the 9th and 10th, so I guess technically today,
Yeah, technically today.
uh,
Yeah. Did
today
you
and then tomorrow.
did you hear the song? The song's actually pretty good. I like it.
Yeah, I did. It is pretty good. I'm quite excited for the people
Yeah,
their debut.
the music video apparently was a way for them to showcase the new members before they debut. So I was like, ah, that's kind of cool.
And I like that because like with most of the other groups they didn't really do that, so it's just like, can they sing, are they just gamers? And you have people like Amelia Watson, who is like, she's a gamer but does she sing? And she does sing, and yeah.
Oh no, Dare!
What?
You've been muted this entire stream. No, wait. No. You're good. You're good. I was looking at the wrong. Oh no. I was looking at the wrong thing. You're actually fine. We can hear you. We can hear you. I'm sorry.
I I almost just left. I was I hate you.
Anyway, you were saying like
Yeah,
they didn't do this for the other
they
groups.
they didn't do this for the other groups. This is fucking give me a heart attack.
Okay, but yeah, so like, hey, this was nice, and like, hey, you get to see their character design, you get to hear them singing. I mean, it was really good. Um, but speaking of reveals and things like that, Jump Festa 2024 announced for December. Boy, it's going to be going on from December 16th through the 17th. This is always a huge deal for anime fans because all kinds of new stuff comes out of Jump Festa. We've actually had new master rules announced for Yu-Gi-Oh! At Jump Festas. And, given that this is
I'm sorry, the fact that it's Festa with an A at the end, I just keep thinking of Chuck Testa. Is it an anime? Nope.
Chuck Testa. Yeah.
I hope that guy's doing all right.
I hope he's doing good too. But so yeah, like this is an annual anime convention. I think it's put on by Viz Media. All of the Shonen Jump titles are there, and it's excellent because you hear all of the news from like upcoming events, adaptations, new merch, just literally everything. Sometimes it's just like as simple as like it's an anime convention and it's run by the people who are responsible for all of your favorite manga, and it's just excellent. There's meet and greets a lot of the times with like authors, actors, etc. We're excited, because being the 25th anniversary of Yu-Gi-Oh, we were kind of disappointed when the Worlds they made a huge deal about having an announcement, and the announcement's just basically like, yeah, we're having another tournament next year. So everyone's kind
It's a
of
huge announcement. We're doing the same thing.
everyone's kind of hoping that they'll announce either a new anime for next year or like at least like a new thing for like the card game. We're not 100% sure if we want a new master rule. A lot of people would say probably not. Please don't do that. But
Let's make the game more confusing.
yeah, let's just make the game more confusing.
You have a spell zone, and then behind it you have trap zones.
Now you need mana to cast spells, but you can summon monsters for free.
Master Rule 5 mana.
Yeah, Master Rule 5 mana, or like a set rotation or something weird. But they did announce which animes would be featured in the upcoming event. And so basically the titles that will be in representation on the red stage are One Piece, My Hero Academia, Jujutsu Kaisen, Haikyuu, Spy Family, Kaiju Number 8, Chainsaw Man, The New Prince of Tennis, Blue Exorcist, which is weird and exciting to me because like the manga is slowly coming up to its end, and like its anime adaptation was all right for most of season 1, and then season 2 nobody cared because they killed season 1 so hard. So I'm excited to see what they have to say about Blue Exorcist. And Rurouni Kenshin recently had a reboot of the anime, and it's my understanding that there's new stuff for the manga. So that's an anime that I grew up with. I'm excited to see what they have in store for it. On the blue stage, we have Mission Yosakura Family. I don't know that one. Undead Unluck. I've heard of it. Blue Box. I've heard of it. The Elusive Samurai. I've heard of it. Bleach. Which they're presently on the 1,000.
Never heard of it.
Yeah, they're on the 1,000-year Blood War. So it's kind of one of those things where I'm like, I want to see what more they're willing to say about Bleach, especially since it's no secret that the author Tite Kubo, not a fan of Shonen Jump. He's like, I drew Bleach, and then like they worked me very hard. I don't want to draw Bleach anymore. But it's like almost like when a YouTube creator quits YouTube, but then they come back. It's like you can't stay away, like it's. Gintama apparently super popular. I don't know. I haven't seen it. Demon Slayer, Dr. Stone, Mashal, which is really funny, Chain Soldier, this one with a really weird title, "'Tis Time for Torture, Princess." Hokkaido Gals Are Super Adorable, Ron
Was
Kamanohashi.
I supposed to respond to that one?
No, that's just what it's called. Hokkaido Gals Are Super Adorable. And then Ron
Oh.
Kamonohashi, gotta sound it out, Deranged Detective, Don Da Don, Hell's Paradise, and World Trigger. And then lastly, for Jump Studio, which I'm not clear on this. It might be that they're the responsible for the anime adaptations or what have you. We have Me and Roboco, which I hear is fantastic. I haven't read it. Sakamoto Days, which every time I see something from Sakamoto Days, it's kind of funny. Witch Watch. Hold on. Car is gone. Akane Banashi. Byokya. I don't know how to pronounce this. Bokyaku Battery. 2.5 Dimensional Seduction. Jeez. Magilumiere, Magic Girls Incorporated, Red Cat Ramen, Oshinoko, Moriarty the Patriot, and Dark Gathering. I am so glad that we're past that because I seem to be having issues with pronunciation.
Yeah, you are. Yeah.
Okay, so
you're having issues.
I'm having issues, and like I said, everybody was kind of hoping for like Yu-Gi-Oh announcements, but I don't see Yu-Gi-Oh listed on here, so my guess is probably not. Like, it's still not out of the question, but it's probably not going to be on one of the main stages, so but like I'm happy to see new stuff of One Piece, My Hero, Jujutsu Kaisen, and Spy Family. Oh, Kaiju number 8, super excited about that. That gets an anime later this year or early next year, so that's fun. And like I said, Blue Exorcist, yes, like get more, please. And Rurouni Kenshin, like happy to see it come back. And I hear that the new anime is actually really, really good. I might have to check it out. But speaking of anime, Magic the Gathering anime, Dareinger. My voice cracked there, and then I just went with it.
I don't know.
You don't know? Like, did you see anything about this?
It's for the Wilds of Eldraine, which apparently is like one of the most powerful sets.
I don't know about most powerful, but it's one of the most recent.
I mean, no, that's Return to Eldraine. The recent one's Return to Eldraine.
Is it? I thought it was the Wilds.
From no, I'm pretty sure it's Return to Eldraine. We're not gonna Magic the Gathering, but yeah, that's the set that has like Doubling Season and other, like I think it has Smothering Tithe and like really powerful cards and a bunch of really cool stuff. So anime on Eldraine.
Well,
I'd like to see anime on the fucking Eldrazi.
Yeah, I kind of figured. Yeah, that seems to be your favorite type of card. But so basically, off of like their post on YouTube, it says that the Wilds of Eldraine are coming everywhere on September 8th, which is today. So I think the new set is the Wilds of Eldraine. But that's me, like I might be wrong. If I'm wrong, please let me know.
I'm a non-TCG player. I could just check right now.
Oh yeah, please double check. Tell me.
Yeah, it's Wilds of Eldraine.
That's what I'm talking about. Bard is never wrong. Has never been wrong ever.
Well, return to the Wilds of Eldraine. So we're both right, actually.
Yeah, but being right is what matters. So yeah. But anyway, like they released basically what amounts to like an anime trailer for the set. I didn't see anything confirming that this was going to be a series. If it was, I'd be interested to watch it. But it was animated by Studio Pierrot. And it details the lore of the Wilds of Eldraine, which is based on fairy tales. Also, the song that plays throughout is pretty dope.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure. Let me double check. I think Studio Pierrot is responsible for Cowboy Bebop. Uh,
I mean, this isn't the first time that they've done some like anime esque bullshit.
it isn't, and
Because
apparently
if you remember when they released Kamigawa, they had Hatsune Miku sing a song for them.
that's right, and apparently this is to the chagrin of like Magic players because they this is something I hear all the time on their on the what do you call it, their subreddits, etc. That they do not want their game to turn into a Weibo fest like Yu-Gi-Oh, and I'm like, what's wrong with us Weebos? You know, like we have fun. But anyway, Studio Pierrot is responsible for Naruto the anime, for Tokyo Ghoul, for Bleach, for Black Clover, for some of my favorites, actually, we have Great Teacher Onizuka, Yu Yu Hakusho. Um, what's more recent? Like, really, it's mostly Naruto and Bleach in here. I'm going through like their My Anime list, like what's it called? What I guess like a filmography. And all of it is just like Naruto, Naruto, Bleach, 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 Bleach. Oh, Osamatsu-san. Oh, Midori no Hibi. You know, like, oh, Tokyo Mew Mew. But, like, for a majority of it's just like Naruto, Naruto, Naruto. I was like, God damn. Uh, so, yeah, like, they're responsible for a bunch of anime that's, like, really iconic. So it's cool to see Magic just be like, hey, you know what? Let's get, like, an anime studio that's got some credits to their work history, you know, and let's make them let's get them to animate a trailer for the Wilds of Eldraine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's good that they're doing that because that makes it more special.
Oh, they did the pilot episode for Hunter x Hunter. It looks like. Oh, there's things in here that shouldn't be said out loud. Ah, they did Fushigi Yugi. How about that? That is a fun anime. And Sonic the Hedgehog. What? This is wild. The more I dig into this, the more I'm like, oh, so yeah, they have done a lot of stuff that I enjoy. How about that? Okay, but we're coming back now. I'm done with that. But no, yeah, super cool. I'm happy to hear like like that they're doing this. Um, kind of a fun thing. I'm always for like like let's animate the lore. Konami, if you're watching, do this with some of your archetypes. Why aren't you? You're already in anime land. What's hard about this? But
When has Konami ever animated anything other than uh, anime?
well, that was a question. But speaking of
Yeah.
Magic the Gathering, I mean, I guess we're going to wind down the episode. I never intended for this to be a recurring segment of the podcast.
Fuck it, it is.
But now it kind of is. I mean, it's just like we've just had a bunch of like weeks where like this just continues to happen. And it's just like, dude, like, can people just like stop for a second? And you're like, that feels like an insensitive thing to say because it's not like you're doing this on purpose, right? But like, it's just like I don't know how much more my heart can take. You know, like
I
Biggie.
mean, technically, they are stopping.
I don't like the way you
So
put
that's a
that.
bad joke.
Yeah,
That's a bad joke.
that's a.
I'm sorry. That was. I feel terrible for saying that. Even wow.
Oh Lord. Anyway,
Hashtag canceled there.
oh man.
But yeah,
So
we had two
just
people pass away
two people pass away this week.
recently that they were actually both quite sudden. Except, well,
Yeah.
one was sudden, I feel. The other one was kind of expected for a while now.
Yeah, like you could see it
Um,
coming a little bit, yeah. So the people who have passed away this week have been Sheldon Menery and Steve Harwell. Steve Harwell was the lead singer of Smash Mouth, a band known for songs such as Walking on the Sun, Then the Morning Comes, and the iconic Hey Now, You're an All-Star, Get Your Game On, Go Play. This was the less sudden. I mean, honestly, like both of them, you could kind of see coming a mile away, because
yeah,
for one thing, Steve Harwell had been struggling with alcoholism for a long time, like a
yeah.
long time.
I was told that they had given him like 4 or 5 years a while back,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just like, yeah, they saw this coming for a while now, and it's just like, okay, but yeah, they put him on hospice care, and you emailed me, or you put in the chat that he was put on hospice care, and then the very next day it was, oh, here he's passed away.
Yeah, like I remember posting about it being like, "Oh man, like apparently he's in hospice care. We better, I'm gonna keep an eye on this." And then like suddenly, like the next day, you posted like the announcement. It's like, "Oh no, he's dead now." I was like, "Oh man, like that was fast," because especially not they didn't give him like a long time to live either. They said like he'll be alive for maybe a week, but
Yeah,
then the
and
next day,
that's usually how hospice is. Honestly, it's like they'll say maybe a week at the best,
yeah,
and then they're gone.
yeah,
But
and then he was gone. So I was like, "Wow." So yeah, kind of like kind of a bad thing. I mean, like alcoholism's kind of a mess, dude. Like, cause like it's a rough illness to have. And shaking the habit can be difficult too. Like your body just kind of like starts functioning differently. It's whew, yeah, not a pretty thing to have. So it's a shame. Like I know that like he was kind of like at the forefront of a couple of controversies where apparently he had issues like he had to cancel shows because he couldn't perform. Like there was one in particular where people in the audience were doing something, I don't remember what. I think they were throwing bread, and he got like super upset and basically like almost started a fight in his own audience pit. So
yeah, that sounds like something that Steve would have done.
yeah, so kind of a mess. It's a shame, like you really kind of wish that like your idols and like the people that are in the public eye would kind of like like, because when you think about it, he had success, and
Yeah, Smash Mouth was used in a lot of different movies and stuff.
yeah,
So it's not like they were some kind of indie one hit wonder band,
right,
because like they were in the first Shrek movie, right?
yeah, and they were in the first Shrek movie.
And I think they were like in one of the Austin Powers movies
Hmm.
or something. They were in a lot.
Yeah, and their song All Star is like the quintessential early 2000s song, right?
Yeah,
S
everybody knows that song. Like,
Everybody
there's
knows
not a
that
single
song.
soul who doesn't know All Star.
There's not a single soul who doesn't know All Star. So like, yeah, like whenever you think of success, this is success, and it's always kind of like baffled me, like whenever you get there, and I guess it must be lonely at the top, because I'm like, how do you reach this place and then just like you're just not okay? I don't understand. And I guess it's kind of like a grass is greener situation. We don't know what they're going through. We don't know like what their life is like. We just assume that because they have success, they're doing well. So yeah, kind of a sad thing to see Steve go. I really, wish in retrospect that he probably would have gotten things together. But I mean, you don't know what people are going through. The best thing you can
Yeah,
do is be kind, because everybody's got their own struggles, and like we have no idea what they are, and a lot of the times they won't say what they are. So well, sorry to see you go, Steve. That's rest in peace. Um, and the other one was Sheldon Menery, who is credited as the creator of Magic the Gathering's popular EDH Commander format. Menery served as a level 5 Magic judge until 2011, and he actually had heavy presence in the Magic the Gathering community. Menery would make a lot of cameos on podcasts and on videos. One of the most popular YouTubers that related to Magic is the professor from Tolarian Community College, and Menery would show up in his videos all the time. So
well,
like,
that's the thing I sent you about it. Was I believe it's Jimmy Wong and uh, fuck, I can't remember the other guy's name, but they're from
from game nights.
the game nights,
Yeah,
and they were posting pictures of them with Sheldon,
yeah.
and they were like expressing their condolences.
Yeah, well, I mean, yes, this is a sad, and we this is sad. This is a sad, and we send our condolences as well. He lost his battle to cancer after 7 years. Dude, can you imagine?
I don't want to imagine this to
Yeah,
happen.
that's rough. I mean, like, yikes. Just living with the constant, like that on your head, like this entire time. It's just, oof. I don't. Like, I have a heart condition, but my heart condition leaves me alone from time to time. Like if I'm eating properly, if I'm exercising, if I'm properly hydrated, I don't
I was
feel
gonna say,
anything.
as long as you're not eating like spicy food, apparently.
Yeah, so like I'm perfectly fine during those times. Sometimes it rears its head for no reason, and I kind of have to deal with it as it comes. But like it's understood that it's not gonna be the death of me unless I let it. Cancer is kind of a different story because this thing is actively trying to kill you, and
Well, it's you trying to kill you,
yeah,
honestly,
yeah. So
because it's your body that's like messing up.
it's your body that's messing up. So like it's rough to imagine that this is kind of where what he had to deal with for 7 years. Like that's rough to picture. And again, like it's an icon of a community that we're related to. So it's sad to hear them go. And like to think that this guy who wasn't even like really an employee at Wizards of the Coast, or like not part of the development team, just a guy participating in a hobby that he loved, was the person who created what is probably like the most popular format in the card game.
I was gonna say EDH is by far one of the most popular like Magic formats,
Yeah, yeah.
and then now it also has alternate formats where people are making like the alternate formats of Magic into alternate formats of EDH as well.
I kind of figured that it wasn't
So
gonna
you've
be
got
like
like
just a
Pauper
standalone
and
thing. Yeah, like you have
no,
different kinds of where it's like, oh yeah, well like this is competitive EDH where
yeah,
where
you
you
have
try to win.
CEDH and then you have EDH, and now there's Pauper EDH
Yeah,
where you're only allowed to use commons and uncommons.
yeah. So just fun, like I'm happy to see. Well, I'm not happy. I'm happy to see the community outpour for this gentleman who just loved his hobby and made it better. And it's sad news. It really is.
I think that's one thing though, that with gaming communities is it doesn't matter what the game is, the community will always like rally together if someone passes away like this.
Absolutely. Like I don't. Yu-Gi-Oh is kind of a young game, so like I don't think we've ever had that happen. Uh,
Kazuki Takahashi died. The creator of the game died.
yes, I know
You
that, but I
won't
was
tell me
talking
no.
about like the content creators. Oh my god. I guess okay. That's on me because I wasn't clear. But yes, when Kazuki Takahashi died, we all banded together. Like,
That
jeez.
was like the one time that Yu-Gi-Oh players stopped being toxic for a moment.
Like, we're not always toxic. We like to complain about the game, but it's only because we love it. You know,
There's like a solid week that I got like nothing but I'm changing my profile picture to this Yu-Gi-Oh card because of I can't say his name now. Taguchi Takahashi.
Kazuki Takahashi, goddammit.
Takahashi had passed away, so I'm changing my profile picture to my favorite card.
Yeah. Well, now that we've both made asses out of ourselves.
Oh, I made an ass out of myself multiple times this stream.
Thank you for watching,
I do that
everyone.
every time.
Thank you for watching episode 19 of the Battle Phase podcast. I was about to call us the Nevermore Nerds.
Dude, that's what I always like. Every now and then when I do this, the intro, I'm always afraid. I'm like, I'm gonna end up saying the Nevermore Nerds. I actually hope that he has me muted still. Not once have you not had me unmuted.
Well, I mean, no, I started unmuting you before myself now, so that way, if you want to take over like the intro, by all means.
I'm gonna say Nevermore Nerds if you do that.
Yeah, like
It's gonna happen.
for context, we used to be called the Nevermore Nerds when we existed in a different capacity in a different lifetime. Now we're the Battle Phase podcast, and again, Thank you for joining us for episode 19. We're happy to see you guys here. We're happy to see you guys listening to us on the podcasting platforms. Follow us on our socials. We're at The Battle Face on Instagram and Threads. You can find me on Twitter at The Midnight Bard. And Dareinger is also on there somewhere.
Yeah, SCS Dareinger.
At CS Dareinger.
You have it in the description.
I do have it in the description. But the folks on the podcasting platforms can't see our description. It's a different story over there.
That's true. That's true.
So thank you guys for joining us. As always, we'll be back on Sunday for a different episode, and some things have kind of changed on my end today, so I may do a couple of more live streams the coming weeks. Maybe we'll see. If I do, I'll make mention of it on socials or I'll post it on the Discord server. So keep an eye out. Other than that, I have been the Midnight Bard,
and I have been the Midday Dareinger,
and he has been the Midday Dareinger. Adios.
Goodbye.